Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been drawn to the outdoors. Sure, I enjoy the hunting aspect of it, but even more than hunting, I enjoy the observing. Every living thing out here is born with some unique advantage, something instinctual that gives them the upper hand in life. Sometimes they use these advantages to hide, sometimes to eat, and sometimes to procreate. It's then my instinct to mimic these behaviors to gain the upper hand. It's this leverage that gives me a better chance than taking a shot in the dark.
Growing up, turkey hunting has always been my favorite. I've had so many opportunities to get one with a shotgun, but about 10 years ago is when I bought my first bow. And man, turkey with a bow, those are my nemesis. I've had the chance to draw my bow several times on a turkey, but for some reason, something just always goes wrong.
I knew Lauren was here to represent SlowGlow and kill some pigs, but I knew she'd been after a turkey with a bow for a long time, and I thought I'd surprise her to make that happen. So we got there at daybreak, and we set up a decoy so we could bring them right where we wanted them to be.
We hit the call early, and we heard gobbles from several directions. It sounded like a group of toms were a couple hundred yards away, but every time it gobbled, it didn't seem like they were getting any closer.
So it's crazy how a group of turkeys will gobble their heads off and then just go silent. And that's kind of what happened to this group.
When the sun came up over the horizon, it was right in our eyes and really blinding. We hadn't heard a gobble in 10 to 15 minutes, so we didn't think they were coming in. And then all of a sudden, they were right in front of us. We all saw them at the same time.
Man, it all happened so fast. From the minute the turkeys came in to where she was at full draw, it must have been 10 seconds. But she did great. She took dead aim and she let one fly.
I can't put into words how happy I was to see that turkey buckle. I mean, it went straight to the ground. I've been waiting 10 years for a gobbler like that. Like, I'm stoked. I think I'm still in shock. Nice. Excited.
Look at that beard.
Ooh.
Look at the size of this spurs.
Oh yeah. Look at that. That's a good one.
So as a guide, people ask me all the time, what's it like not to pull the trigger? But it's occasions like this that are so gratifying, it makes it all worthwhile.
I was so excited to get back to camp and show Mom and Dad. I was so excited about my big gobbler. But Flip didn't waste any time. He jumped in the truck and went after some coyotes.
So we've got our Fox Pro, got our guns in the truck, pretty much ready. Let's go see if we can shoot some yotes. Predator control plays a really big part in our conservation efforts. If there's not a proper harvest, they can get out of hand really quickly. So we have a burn up here that's close to the oak trees, and with the winds being as high as they are, the oak trees will kind of muffle that wind, and with our Fox Pro we'll be able to just shoot that sound out there, get them to come into the call. That way we can take care of some of these coyotes that are getting out of hand. Pretty soon here we're going to have our fawn drop, and we'll have our calf drop for our Nilgai cows as well. So we've got to protect them. This will be a good opportunity to get into one of our fresh burns where we can see a good distance but stay close to the oaks and take care of these coyotes. So what I do is I'll take some of this fresh dirt, some of these weeds, kind of rub my hands. What I want to do is get my human scent off of myself before I grab my Fox Pro unit. A lot of hunters go after trophy animals, but for me, I think predator hunting is where it's at. It's really fun to go out there and play a cat and mouse game with these predators, especially coyotes. They've got a really keen sense of smell and eyesight. We have the wind in our face, we'll have the sun in our back, and we'll use these shadows to our advantage. Now all we need to do is get on top of one of these hills so we can see a good distance and see the coyotes coming in. The thing about predator hunting is you have to stay committed. We made a classic mistake, got up early to leave our stand, and sure enough, there was a coyote standing there 20 yards away from our spot. We never saw him. We jumped in the truck, headed to another spot where me and the cameraman could have a better visibility. Fox Pro couldn't have been out there more than a few minutes. Coyote came right into the call, right there, 12 o'clock from the decoy. Stopped at 40 yards, we hammered it. Can't get much more exciting than that. Can't beat it. Simple, easy. Oh no, look, she's already had pups. So even though she looks young, I mean, she's probably already given a litter. And in a few months, those pups are gonna be out there eating fawns, chasing down our cattle, and you know, devastating our quail eggs population, turkey population, everything. So right now, during this time of year, is the time that we take advantage on our off season to try and take control of this population before it gets out of hand. So this being the last day of our hunt, we called gobblers at daybreak, did some coyote hunting during the midday, and now we're just waiting for it to get dark so we can chase some more pigs.
The mixture of what we're using here today between hog lights and bait and smart cameras are a phenomenal recipe for success, and it's fun. You're participating in hog abatement. You're doing it in a conservative, conservation type way. You're improving the landscape for your game animals, and it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
I've been hunting hogs pretty well all my life, and I have never seen bait sites destroyed like they were with these Raging Boar products. Now I got to the point where we couldn't put the bait out before dark because no sooner we get in the truck, be driving off, they were right behind us coming into the bait. It was really impressive to watch.
So it's our last night here. We baited our stations. We're posted up a little ways off. We got 4 teams of 3, I think. We're ready to lay waste to some pigs.
One of my most favorite things to do in this world is go pig hunting with my dad. This whole trip, my dad let everybody else shoot, but our last night there, we insisted that he go get a pig too.
I've been hunting hogs for over 40 years, and it never gets old to hunt with my kids.
Oh man, look at Santa Cruz. This is where your dad and Lauren are hunting.
Man, look at that guy back there.
40 hogs at least.
But they're waiting for it to get dark.
On our last night there, my dad and I decided to go sit on the fence line at Santa Cruz and wait for the hogs to come in.
It didn't take long before the cameras were sending us pigs. The pigs were in there destroying the bait, and we were able to slip in behind the lights. It was evident in looking at one boar. He was mean. He was pushing all of the other hogs out of the way. He definitely was the bull of the woods.
This one big boar kept coming in and pushing all the other hogs around. We knew exactly which one we were after.
It didn't take long before the big boar had pushed out most of the other hogs, gave me a good broadside shot, so I took it.
No matter how many times I go out with my dad, it never gets old. I was so glad he was able to get a big one.
Watching that big boar run off after a perfect hit, looking over at my daughter, it don't get any better than that. Be out in the woods hunting with your kids, it's a great feeling.
It wasn't long after that, we had a bunch of pigs at what we call the salt flat. And he was pushing around these piglets like a madman. Adrenaline's pumping once again. Hogs were right there in front of us. The hog made a great circle right back into the slow glow light, broadside, perfect angle, drew back. Smoked him. Lumenok glowing the whole time, just watching him go and go and go, and he probably didn't make it 60 yards and keeled over right there.
There you go. Good job, Cole. Way to go, man. That was a heck of a shot.
Oh, no, there's your arrow. Check it out.
We had a lot of good companies come together on this project, but one of the most critical was Lumenok. If you're bow hunting at night, you can't do it without lighted nocks. It would be impossible to know where you hit these pigs without it. We also learned that when you're blood trailing, you can use a couple of arrows with the Lumenoks to mark your last spots of blood. It's a genius way to go back and find your path where the pigs was running. Cameras were popping. I mean, we were getting photos at all of our spots. Dave with Raging Boar brought his crossbow, so we headed to the deer.
We had a good selection of hogs on our camera, drove up, stalked in. SlowGlow's got them blinded, the light's there. We slip in and get within range. I get the Raven up in the mount and settle down. Release the bolt. Instant success. That bolt just blistered through the side of that hog, was sticking through in the ground on the other side, and having a Lumenok to be able to trace it, really without it you'd never been able to see it, and that made it easy for recovery. After that, the hog didn't go 60 yards.
There she is. Oh, wow.
As a hunter in South Texas, one hog's just not going to do it. It wasn't long before the camera started giving us pictures. The hogs had loaded in and started feeding. We did a slow stalk in. SlowGlow had them blinded. We set up and got the crossbow ready. Easy shot, easy recovery. Smoked another one.
I really wanted to let the boys get a few shots in since I get to do this all the time. When it was my turn to shoot, we headed over to the Conscious Pond where we saw 2 or 3 pigs on the trail camera. We could hear the pigs in the water. We knew we were close, but for some reason the light wasn't on. Before each night of hunting, we stop at all of our spots and make sure they're baited out and that everything's working properly. I guess when someone was checking the battery on the SlowGlow, they accidentally unplugged it and we didn't notice. So we were stalking in on a couple pigs with no light. Our guide remembered that we had a few more lights in the back of the truck, so he headed back and got a new light and battery and brought it back to us. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this. We actually got the light and pointed it up in the air and slowly brought it down to see the hogs. They didn't seem to notice at all. So I got within 15 yards, pulled back, and let one rip. After my shot, I saw my Lumenok take off. It only went 40 or 50 yards, and we were easily able to find him.
So the hunt was going phenomenal. Everybody was getting shots, everybody was shooting pigs, but we had one last mission for Jordan. Jordan had brought his recurve, which is also considered a trad bow, and he was dead set on shooting a big boar with it.
So it ended up being one of the best trad hunts, pig hunts, just hunts in general ever. So the Beretta Pond's been one of the most consistent spots, but we hadn't seen any activity that night. So we decided to check it out, maybe try the Fox Pro. So we snuck back in there. Nothing's hit corn or anything. So we set up the Fox Pro, ducked out maybe 60, 80 yards, and let that distress call rip. And it didn't take but what felt like 2-3 minutes, maybe 5, and we could hear him coming in. So we snuck up to that Fox Pro, and there's a couple of big pigs rolling in, but there was a big boar. We could see cutters hanging out, and we knew which one we were after. We didn't have to say much, and we waited for the right shot, and I was so amped up, I missed completely. So at night it's hard with the trad bow. I can't quite see what I'm used to seeing. So after making that first miss and calming down a little bit, I made what I thought were the necessary adjustments, and it paid off. Good thing about the trad bow, it's a lot slower, it's a lot quieter, not quite as violent of a miss. So they didn't scatter too far. A minute later, they're right back on the station. And I let one rip and put it right where it needed to go. So with my trad bow, I'm shooting about 150, 160 feet per second with a little over 600 grain arrow. It's not going real fast, but it hits pretty hard. And the way that broadhead hit, it didn't need to go all the way through, but it made it far enough to clip a heart and lung, stay in there, and as he ran off, it tore him up even more, and he took off through this field, and it seemed like a couple hundred yards of just bouncing red lights, and we got over and found blood real quick, and it was 500-600 yards of a solid bloodstream straight to him.
Oh yeah. Yes. With the Black Widow.
Oh, there's the Lumenok.
Oh.
Holy shit. Bro, one more time.
Hell yeah.
Way to go, man.
When they told me that they called one in with a Fox Pro, I couldn't believe it. I had to go see it myself. We learned throughout the week that if you turn that call on, you better be ready, because they're coming quick.
So that's by far my biggest pig, which I'm ecstatic about. It's with a trad bow at night. There's so many firsts going on. Hell yeah.
I'm glad you
I appreciate
enjoyed
it.
That's awesome.
A lot.
That is a monster.
I really think that we've been able to show that this style of bow hunting will really benefit our conservation efforts. And I hope that we can continue to do this year round.
Leaving Louisiana and coming here, was one of the best things that I've ever done, was one of the most exhilarating opportunities I've ever had in my entire life.
It's really just been an incredible week out here, from the successful Nilgai hunt for the trophy bull I got, to countless exciting stalks in the middle of the night and on wild hogs.
So what a trip. I'm so happy to be here, and I appreciate it a lot. This is one I won't forget.
The opportunity to be able to hunt on a ranch like this quality, the companies that were represented here, is just a deadly combination for any hunter.
Well, I'll tell you, after a few days of doing this is the recipe for success. Between being able to stalk up on a large sounder of hogs who really can put a hurting on you. They don't see you. You get really, really close. They're so engorged in the bait, they don't even pay attention to how close you're getting. This is an incredible experience.
For the past 20 years, we've dreamed of putting a hunt like this together with a property that has this many hogs, bring in this many great products, have slam dunk opportunities for hog after hog after hog. It really was a hunt of a lifetime.
If you have hogs on your property, you have to hunt hogs like this. It's an absolute slam dunk. It's something you could do year round, it's effective, and it is so much fun.
I think we've brought a whole new meaning to taking a shot in the dark.